Chip, this is day 3. That's finals day, and we're here with the winner of the last matchup, DeHang. Tim, thank you for joining us. It's good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Before we talk a little bit about the Quake World Championship, you're a player who, has built his own legacy. You've been playing for quite some time across several different Quake titles. And, I'm just really curious to hear where do you feel like you are at in terms of your skill set, in terms of how much you have developed over these many, many years, and in terms of kind of where you're at now?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been playing a long time. I feel like I do most aspects of the game very, very good in terms of my execution, but I wouldn't give myself like a 10 out of 10 in any particular area, like aim, timing, mechanics, positioning, things like that, quickness, movement. But I think I do a lot of things very well. And these days it really comes down to just like, because everyone is so evenly matched, it ends up being who just executes that 5% better that day, and that's who ends up on top.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of which, your opponent CNZ, and we'll talk specifically about the matchup in a second, but kind of proved exactly what you talked about. Fought through Challenger, it fought all the way kind of through to earn the spot here, and then you had to go up against. So you're going up against someone like CNZ, who may not have the same level of legacy in terms of just what's happened this season. You're still taking those types of matches like one step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And he had one hell of a run. His bracket was very difficult. Making it to the semifinal winner bracket side. It doesn't get any better than that going into day 3. So, really good job by him. He's one to look out for in the future.
Definitely, we've been impressed by him this weekend, but impressed with Mini. Just like you said, everyone's playing great. It comes down to that execution, that 5% you're trying to grab in the middle of the match. And let's talk a little bit about the match, because game 1 went in favor of CNZ. And you start a best of 5 series like that, you lose the first game, it's not the end of the world, but that was still a close one. Mindset change, anything on your strategy or any way you were approaching the game change as you went into game 2, 3, and 4?
Same overall approach. I played a little sloppy in terms of some of my choking off the opponent, and also when I had an opportunity to offset on Corrupted Keep, the first map, Heavy and Mega, I never actually did it. So it was like they were constantly within 2 or 3 seconds of each other in terms of the timing. So coming from like a 2-3 frag deficit, I wasn't able to create an opening kind of the traditional way by just controlling the items. And I kind of got punished for not executing well there. And then I just, same overall mindset, just made sure I didn't do that specifically again, which it's a lot harder to do on Awoken because the rail's at play, and that throws things off. But yeah, just gotta take the loss and move on to the next map.
So I want to talk about map 4 a little bit. Nail biter down to the final moments. I think it went about 3 or 4 minutes into overtime. Was there any point in those final moments, because it was very close from where we were sitting, and I'm sure you'll go back and review the tape on that one, but any point in that matchup where you thought, oh, I'm screwed, I might have dropped this map?
Yeah, I mean, toward the end, like maybe 30 seconds, a minute into overtime, I forgot the exact timing. I mean, he definitely had the upper hand. And I think he caught me at LG when he was at Megapad and I hit a rail and he didn't hit a rail. And that gave me a little more breathing room. But I mean, it was just, constant back and forth. So I was on the ropes for a moment there.
Well, congratulations with that 3-1 victory. Two members from Maestro. We've got 2 members from Team Liquid, 2 Team Liquid players at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all want to win really badly. I'm just very grateful for Team Liquid's support, and so to represent them to the fullest and, you know, hopefully take the whole thing, that'd be great. They also have Rafa, so I know Team Liquid's excited, and hopefully we both get top 2. It'd be nearly a LAN final for us.
Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you so much. Good luck on your upcoming matches. You'll be going up against the winner of Chain versus Razy. I'm sure you'll be keeping a close eye on that one. But thank you for the entertaining games, and good luck for the remainder of the day.
Thanks, Sweet. Take care.
Take care, Tim. Talk to you soon. Let's bring the panel back and talk a little bit about that. We got to hear some comments directly from Dehang on that, but Lethal, definitely excited. Anytime there's chatter post-game in comms, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's going to be good. Lethal, your thoughts on that 3-1 victory with Dehang over CNC?
The whole story of that was CNZ needed to increase the tempo, especially on maps 2 and 4. But going to map number 1, CNZ did a great job. He was keeping his distance throughout the entire time, waiting for the first mistake, but also contesting the items, hiding around the top red room for the majority of that game. Map number 2, Dehang played very methodical, keeping CNZ guessing with Doom's double jump, just faking a lot of the audio cues to hold time, holding him back on so many different occasions. But even on map number 3, again, using the turret to its full extent, and we know how hard it is to kind of keep away from that turret, especially around the heavy area. It's very difficult to contest, but everywhere Dehang went, he made sure that turret was in the best placement possible. But the main thing is he did it early. But map number 4, if there's any time CNZ wanted to increase the tempo, that was the main map. There was at least 5 or 6 occasions, even at the second to last engagement. I was a little bit worried for Dehang. He had 15 seconds left to the Ghost Walk. The 3 hourglasses were up. He decided not to pick him up in the end. Managed to get away, but in the end, CNZ just dropped a little bit. It just seems like, I feel like that could have been a 5 or 6-0 victory for CNZ if he just increased the pace and his movement.
Yeah, Ketchupflea, you were watching from the sidelines, and I think tempo was one of the things that was brought up there in the intermission chatter that was going on. You want to expand on that at all?
I was just a huge fan of Dehang's Nyx usage. He has a style with Nyx that fits him really well. He does like to play extremely calculated, and I'd even mentioned it right as the map began, that the Ghost Walk, where the moment you get caught in a bad position, Nyx is kind of that get out of jail free card. Not to sound disrespectful, it's just the kind of utility that she brings. Sure. And how many times did Dehang get either caught in a position or decide to make some kind of push that he knows he has the safety net of the instant invincibility that allowed him to either push a little bit, take one of the items, or just survive, that led to that one frag map. I loved it every step of the way, and it's a real celebration for how skilled and composed Dehang can truly be.
Yeah, I think Dehang played that absolutely perfectly, the final match at least, but still, that was more CNZ's loss than Dehang's win up until the very end, I felt like. As Lethal said, that could have been a 5-6-0 victory for the man from Estonia. So many opportunities, never managed to capitalize off of it. I just feel like he's going to be very disappointed about that one, and we could have been so close to seeing that 5th and final map.
Yeah, and here's the brackets as they've been updated. CNZ had a great run. Unfortunately, his trail does end here, but I don't know, a studio round of applause for fighting your way through elimination and challenger all the way to there. Falling to an opponent like Dehang, he was second throughout the last stage as well. Still a mighty effort from CNZ. Impressed with what we've seen, and even Dehang had some kind words to say. Watch out for CNZ. In the future. So we've got our next matchup, Chain versus Razy, that is right around the corner, and that's going to set up whoever Dehang's next opponent will be. Meanwhile, we've got Wenger and Rafa waiting patiently up top for their moment to go head-to-head. But let's talk a little bit about Chain and Razy as we enter into this next best of 5. What are your thoughts, right? I would say, just throwing it out there, Chain has shown some good play, maybe not the same level of consistency that Razy has shown. Razy did fall to Wenger, his own teammate, who is now sitting in the winner bracket final. Thoughts on this matchup?
Poor Chain, from one Maestro man to another. I think Razy and Wenger had a much closer matchup in comparison for what we see before, but Chain did look really good. The only problem was he was giving away very early frags. He's always on the chase. We haven't really seen him much in the lead and see what he can do with the map control, but I think Chain's going to play a little bit more cautiously depending on the champion picks.
I'm, for lack of a better term, I'm a little bit worried for Chain in this. Chain has had an incredible run, and he's done such a great job of really cementing himself at the absolute, top end of the Americas leaderboard, as far as I'm concerned, because he's able to consistently prove, and has done for the past few stages, just how good his climb to power has been. But the last time I recall Razy and Chain going head-to-head in a competitive setting, it was kinda ugly. Razy really ran away with it. He did manage to get the clutch in, though, back then, and as far as I'm aware, I don't think he's got the clutch today, but we are moments away from finding out what the picks and bans will be. But if we're going by history alone, Razy has a really good chance to move on.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lobby right now, and even though we don't know the picks and bans yet, Razy is standing there proudly as the robot, so I hope for Chain's sake. No, he hasn't!
There we go.
Indeed.
No way!
Has it at the ready, so that means that Razy gets to start off map 1, Awoken playing clutch, his famous champion, no doubt that he is the best player in the world at that particular champion. But on the other hand, Chain actually seems to have taken a page from Rafa's book by picking the Athena, which we've seen used to against clutch rather, but to great effect.
What a filthy way to start the first
mean,
map.
look.
Awoken and clutch. Like, what more
Right.
could you ask for here? What a start. Razy's pretty much laughing at this point in his chair, probably. But looking at the second map as well, Chain does have the Eisen, Nozzy has the top mid control and the mega setup. He should be okay, depending on if it gets that early frag. But yeah, it should be a lot of close games here, depending on how things will go. But Ruins as well, kill versus slash, that should be a fast one.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny to see that. Maybe it is just like, well, this is a best of 5, right? A best of 3 that's a little bit rougher. I don't know if you do take that out of the equation, right? Does it throw off another pick later on? I mean, hard to say. We've seen a couple of consistencies with a few different players throughout this, and this is one consistency that everyone seems to just let continue to happen.
I mean, I'm looking at the matchup, and the fan of the individual champions in me is at least happy that we get to see some champions that really are that extension of a player's in-game personality. The clutch for Razy speaks for itself. But Chain, he's got a fan favorite Athena. He was one of the first players that we really saw starting to, no pun intended, champion this pick and really get good results. A lot of players would use Athena in the Pro League, and it was kind of wishy-washy. She just wouldn't really accomplish much. But then, over time, on the maps that she can thrive, Chain was one of those first players that really put her on the map, and it's a battle of specialists on that first map for sure.
Actually, to add to that as well with the Athena, he's got a better chance of baiting out the shield, and then he'll have a window of opportunity to try and at least tackle down Razy. That seems to be a possible game plan for him.
That's a interesting thought, and I'm excited to kind of see what will happen here in Game 1. Certainly, this is going to be a series about momentum, talking a little bit about their previous history. If there was ever a place to step off on the right foot, Chain grabbing that Game 1 would probably change the tune, right? A level of confidence, a level like, okay, the past in the past, we're here and now. But still, I think, going to be a pretty tough matchup as well. Real quickly, because we're about to jump in the game, any predictions here?
Razy 3-1.
Same.
I'm going to say 3-0.
Oh.
All right. Well, the predictions are in. Lock yours in as well. We'll find out from our casters here in a moment what they think. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us for day 3 here, the finals day of the Quake World Championship. Let's kick it off to our casters, ZSX and 40 Lions.
40, let's raise the roof because this map will be off the chain. Do you agree this will be a 3-1, 3-0 for Razy?
Give me a second to cringe real quick. No, I'm so proud of you. I don't know. It's hard. This is going to be really, really rough for Chain. I don't know how the clutch got rid of it. It might be a bloodbath. Let's just start off here as we're going live. Razy wants to start off with a bang. Chain does have the Athena. And right off the bat, shotgun blast. The chase is on. Good defensive rail, but the stack is just too high. And no. Okay, that's one way to start it.
Let's go next. No re. First frag with the gauntlet, and the pressure is unrelenting. And I'm afraid we've seen this story before. I think it was Athena chain picked against Razy with clutch on a Woken at stage 2, and I'm not gonna lie, I still have nightmares about that match, let alone chain, because it was one of the worst beatdowns I've seen in Quake history. And that's not start chain in business for sure when he enters this engagement.
This is just brutal. Maestro after Maestro, quick starts as well, always putting chain down. I saw what Wenger did earlier. Razy just running off where Wenger left off. This is nicer now. The chain kind of put a little bit of a halt to it, but Razy would be the player to start a duel off with a gauntlet kill, wouldn't he?
It would, and it's with Razy. He's one of the players that I don't even know if he does it deliberately, but he takes that level of mental torture to another level. You know, most other players would finish it off with a shotgun and just move on, but Razy has to find a way to immediately hit you, pound you into the ground, and it actually really does play a big role in these type of games. People just don't want to go up against Razy.
Absolutely brutal. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is on purpose. He knows what he's doing, and he's so damn good at it too. That stack on that Astro Van is so huge right now. Chain needs to get out of here. Razy doesn't want to go through the choke point just yet, wants even more of a stack so he can tank anything the Chain throws at him. Just missing out on that jump. Being very fortunate for the time being, but again, that's not going to stop Razy. Have you ever seen a robot stalk a spray? This is exactly what's going on right now.
No, nor have I seen a Fridge taking this much speed around a map either. And what is the game plan here for Chain? I think it has to be keep away, has to play the rail game. We've seen success in the past with Athena, notably with Rapper, but that was Blood coming out. That was a completely different setup in terms of the map. Way more verticality. Awoken, corridors, you can sneak up on your opponent, you can fly your opponent, and you can just in their face, and that's what Razy wants to do. He wants to close the gap and use that shotgun, use those close range. Just look at the stack, it's unbearable at the moment.
This is starting off brutal here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Razy, pop the shield, get up close, get out that shoddy Pippin, and just Campbell's chunky soup away at the light champion. Athena is great, but doesn't have that verticality on this map, like you said. And I think with the dash, I mean, it's pretty even. So this is up to Chain to figure out some way to fight back here. The rails from distance are going to be decent. He needs to keep hitting them just like that. That's the opening that he needs. Razy has been doing a good job up until this point of grabbing the items to keep that stack up. So this is kind of Chain's way back in. If you get one more rail, that would be huge right now.
You see what Razy's doing here. He's one of the best. And this is why he's such a great clutch player, because as much as we see clutch flying around the map and imposing himself on his opponent, it's about these periods of downtime when you're vulnerable and there is no shield up. And it's how do you play around that weakness? And as you see, Razy plays it slow, uses the information, and he takes the duel as if he was any other champion. Only when it's the right time does he go in. He's missed that item, so he won't want to commit, but a back-to-back rail does open the door for that final leap of faith. And the shotgun will be the weapon once again to take down the Athena.
And then tactics aside, when he needs to, the aim is on as Razy 5-0 up.
It's a great point. I mean, it is the aim that opens up the door for these type of situations. I mean, Razy is best known perhaps for his tracking, but it is his rail that is the key factor in all of these engagements. It's back-to-back rails, and then that allows him to use that shift ability to get in his opponent's face. So, whilst he makes it look easy, it's the combination of all those factors that makes that pressure insurmountable.
It's just crazy watching Razy get all over the map with this robot. Just such clean movement. Barely missing out on that rail, but he does have a shotgun and a shield, and he's got a plan. Chain needs to get out of there, forcing him to the LG side of the map. It's a matter of time.
To Chain's credit, it's only 5-0. So yes, there is a long way to go in this map, but he hasn't given up too much of a lead. Razy smells that his prey is low, and he's just been chipping away at it the whole time.
Chain very fortunate with that rocket pushing clutch back here. The LG into heavy machine gun, great damage, Chain on 25 HP. Razy just looks so comfortable chunking with that shotgun and then into the rail. Fantastic shot again as he waits on this Mega, and the cycle continues.
Cycle continues in that push, weak to desperation. This one less so, but unfortunately, once again, the shotgun switch is the right decision. As Razy is moving around carefree at the moment. Chain has got a blow, but Crazy's already back to at least starting stack and is looking punchy to take this next Mega. And it does feel that Chain is getting more and more desperate in all of these types of engagements.
Just brutal. Just brutal. There's a good rail again. We've seen him hit those, but there is the Mega pickup and the shield again. Another great rail. But the shotgun jump from up close.
Have mercy, Razy.
You ever see the Simpsons where Ralph? Oh man, he's already dead. Stop! He's already dead. I know. 9-0 ZSX. I don't know about this. This is a horrific start for the game.
Just a little bit, and I'm not entirely sure there was going to be another outcome to this engagement. It is on the American server, so one can assume that Chain had first pick, which meant Razy had first ban and allowed Razy to pick the clutch. So, you know, you just chalk this one up to Razy's pretty damn good on the clutch, particularly when you put it on a working.
Yeah, the name of the game is just never let Razy play clutch at all here. Chain trying to make something happen, can't run away, and the robot will find you another frag. 12-0 now.
Could you imagine, like, if this was real life and you were just chilling in the park and then suddenly out of the bushes comes a 50-ton robot flying at you?
Going outside.
just
hilarious. How dare you? No, that would be terrifying. And, you know, being down 12-0 is terrifying here. I'm sure Chain mentally has probably checked out, maybe been thinking about the next map already. And I wouldn't blame him. 3 minutes left. It seems insurmountable at this point. That's a great rail. He is very low right now, but again, Razy has all these resources to work with, and he needs this frag right now as Chain pushes in. He's so weak in the shotgun again, coming in clutch for Razy. Pun intended.
Is weak, but problem is, even as Athena, Razy's out-railing the light champion. It's quite remarkable. That's probably the most impressive thing when I see these matchups, is that people go light and they try and use their own speed and ability to get around Razy, but obviously he's faster and he's outgunning them. It's just disgusting.
That was the forbidden dance right there. I don't know how Razy stayed alive. That was incredible. Chain was peeking into the edge. Like I said, he didn't catch him out, didn't have the weaponry, but Razy stays alive and getting seconds closer.
Well, that's a jump.
Just a shutout.
And Henry. And yeah, this is the time where, I was about to say, this is the time where your corner, your manager throws in the towel for you, says, please have mercy, don't do this anymore.
Don't kill my boy, please. He's like, you need to get out of the game. He's like, I got this, coach. No, you don't. Just stop. Just stop. You're gonna hurt yourself.
I think, well, Chain will not leave the game, but I'm sure he's checked out, gone to refresh and evaluate. I don't even know, like, this is the type of game. What do you evaluate? What's the problem? Razy pick clutch. Cool.
Yep. Chalk it up to Razy pick clutch. And look at that view. Razy's just like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a robot, you know, just hanging out. Brutal. Absolutely brutal, man.
I don't know. Like, the closest we've seen to the counter to this, if you will, was Venga playing that Ranger. He clearly had a strategy, and he came close. It was a huge difference. Razy ended up edging it in the end. So it shows it is doable, but let's not forget that these two counters together countless hours. So Venga has a much more intricate detail of how Razy plays it, how to expose it. And when the clutch goes wrong, it looks awful. So we saw that with Garpy CNZ. There are times and places where you can expose the weaknesses of the clutch. And Chain does not have that answer.
Didn't have the answer there. I mean, again, I go back to the way these maps have started for Chain, both in the series with Wenger and now with the Gauntlet kill against Razy. It's pretty brutal, and Chain has to do his best to just mentally reset and be like, that was just a clutch thing. That's it, I swear, and get back into this map, because that is a rough start.
I just think Athena has such a small margin of error. Like, at least if you have a Scale Bearer or a Sorlag or a Keel, we saw Keel against Razy with, I think it was clutch as well. Like, at least you have that foundation to build off and just run at your opponent to try and man fight them. But the Athena, as we saw, like, Razy was hitting more rails on the Athena than Athena was hitting on clutch. So there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, he hit all the rails he needed to, but Clutch just huge stack, plated armor on that robot, and yeah, you hope to see Chain bounce back and try and fight back for this, because it's starting to creep into my head. There could be a world where he kind of goes 0-6, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. He doesn't need that. Oh, the double dose of Maestro is just too strong.
I mean, the panel said 3-0, 3-1. What is your prediction?
I feel like Chain could... I would wipe that map clean. That didn't happen, right? Let's forget about what just happened. The series starts now. I feel like Chain can put up a map, at least. I believe in the kid. The comeback kid will put up a map, and those are probably famous last words, but here we're just seeing the highlight reel of Razy. It's Shotgun Central, and just really well played by Razy. I mean, not taking anything against him. Just again, as we mentioned before, just because you pick Clutch doesn't mean you automatically get a win. You have to know how to use that champion. Razy by far the best in the world on Clutch, and proving time and time again, ban it if you can. Get it out of there. Maybe even start counter picking it if you can't ban it. Just get it out of his hands, because he is a monster.
He is rather scary. We're going to move on to Vale, which is Chain's pick. Ison against Doomslayer on the EU server. Chain is definitely exceptional on this map. We saw him play it yesterday to incredible effect. He has such creative use of the angles on the map and understands in detail how to play it. I think he even picked Ison, so we've seen him come to the fore there. Razy with the Doomslayer. I'm sensing more aggression from Razy.
Yeah, aggression, and then since you're up close and personal, a lot of rocket fights, so the double jump can aid him in kind of missing some of those direct and splash damage. I'd really like to see Chain set up those turrets over by the Mega. That seems to be super effective, kind of protecting the telly exit and just causing chaos when you try and go up there and actually fight for the Mega, and that's exactly what Chain needs to do. He needs a good start to the map, be it slow, be it getting a frag early, but just do not give up a frag early. It's happened far too much. Please do not start playing from behind. It's just not going to be good. So that's what I'm hoping for his sake.
Yeah, poor Chain has started 4 maps on the row now, conceding a frag within the first 30 seconds. So it's been an uphill battle the whole time against Maestro. I do feel, though, that his style just struggles against Razy. Obviously, he's developed a lot as a player since he last met him in a tournament environment. But even still, the way in which Razy plays, he likes to be on the front foot and get into Chain's face. It does counter Chain's slightly more reserved rail-based style. And even when Chain wants to play that rail-based style, as we just saw with Razy, he's quite happy to resort to playing that man-fight battle with the rail, and he often comes out on top. So Chain definitely needs to adjust somewhat. And obviously, this is going to be the map to do it. His home pick, he has Ison. He has to make something happen now if he's going to stay in this event.
This one is going to be medium on medium champ, but I have this lingering feeling that Razy's still going to start off super aggressive. I feel like he's in his head a little bit, especially after that gauntlet frag. I don't think he fears anything. The God Slayer, he just wants to get this over with. This is just another day at the office for him. Chain, send Chain your energy in the chat as we're going to go live on map number 2 on Vale between these two. Razy versus Chain. Chain fighting for his life here.
Rank 7 versus rank 8, and already we have an engagement straight away. Razy pulling out, bullying Chain away, and once again Chain's going to go down very early here. He might be lucky and get away just for now. The rockets are good, but he's missed out on both major items.
That's still huge. The fact that he stood his ground and forced Razy off is a victory. I mean, it's small victories, right? Start off small,
what is
give
it?
up full control, but
With Chain and starts. What is it? It must be reflecting and saying, what am I doing wrong?
It feels like he's just getting bullied. That's it. Like, he's not expecting that kind of aggression. On that one, he did. He got a little bit lucky with the good defensive rockets, and he had obviously the rocket available to him, which helps immensely. But he needs to be careful. There's the turret as Razy hits the high ground. He can deal with the turret easily.
No.
Oh no. He can back away from that. That could have been disastrous there as he pushes through the telly.
Interesting push by Chain, maybe thinking Razor was moving off earlier than he was, and he missed out completely on that Mega. Got free, taken away, and stolen by Razor, as is the Heavy, and Chain is now vulnerable. Chain, this is the time where Razor wants to push, but he also wants to evaluate the best course of action. Razor, extremely creative in the way in which he approaches fights, often catching his opponent off guard, and Chain is just retreated to the catacombs, doesn't want to show his face. So Razor says, that's fine, but early days, I don't want to lose this stack.
And that Heavy deals with the turret without issue, almost getting that rail, threading that needle here. Good fake jump. Take the rocket and avoid it, and this is the slow start that I think Chain needs. Nothing crazy. Holding on to the upper ground, that information from that rocket is going to give Chain kind of an exit strategy here, as he knows exactly where Razor is. Razor's doing a great job of maintaining high ground until he absolutely needs to drop, and he finds his prey. Can he hit the shot? Very patient with the rail, but neither player will land some damage. Again, another cycle goes to Razor.
Another cycle indeed. Chain setting up for this Mega, and this is a good chance for him to do some damage to Razor, as Razor's on the low ground, and Chain set up perfect. He's got that turret in position. He himself is perfectly placed. Razor using the speed boost through, perfect rocket to rail. The turret is going to get in the way, and doesn't matter. Razor just hops up above it and picks up that first frag with relative ease. I really loved the use of the teleporter speed.
That was beautiful. He knew exactly how the defense was set up. He read it perfectly, and he capitalized. And Chain will get a Heavy, but at what cost? As the LG float from down below is so strong. A little bit of rocket damage with a follow-up rail hit. LG's out instead. Razor's still hunting. Tri-bolt from down below. Sending Chain packing it towards the rail room. Can he get away? The shotgun almost chunking him there, as we saw so much use of that on the first map. But Razor wins out on the Mega, and that's good enough for him. With the Heavy coming up, Chain can't really fight for it. Maybe set up for a rail if he's lucky, but it doesn't look like he's going to be around.
No, he shouldn't be around, as we've seen the power of Razor when he gets that stack and he finds Chain in the vicinity. Chain's already setting up for this Mega, but it is very early. I'm not sure if Chain has miscalculated that timing, because he seems to be standing on it, and Razor's going to be pushing in here, realizing that Chain is around. Nice rail and dropping out the way. It does allow Razor an easy pickup here. Oh no, Chain gets booted to the air, and the combo is there, and an easy finish. Chain, realizing he was going to die, wanted a last lick of damage, can't even get that. I do feel that Chain needs to just craft more substantial openings. I mean, that was a vulnerable position to be in, and Razor understood what his opponent's up to.
He thought he could make him ride the lightning. Razor with a great rocket, rail, shotgun combo, just hitting everything. Very unfortunate for Chain, but still early. Only down 2. This was the slowest game that we've seen on Chain's end, which again is good, but Razor is just so dominant right now. Full control of the map again, maintaining high ground, only really dropping down to pick up that Heavy. You can see the rails from Chain are good, but unfortunately they seem to be right before the major item, so it's all useless damage.
If you looked at Razor's heat map, this is pretty much the first time he's been out of that central area. As you rightly say, his positioning has just been so alpha, and it's forced Chain away, but for the first time they did exchange rails, and Chain has won himself a scarce item. They're going to contest here over the Heavy. Razor's got the low ground, and Chain's going to find it difficult to get up there. The double jump is not enough, as Razor's taken a lot of damage. He is very much railable. He snuck himself away, but Chain, being low himself, is skeptical about making any sort of advances. He's going to come on through, but he eats a rocket for his troubles and shouldn't be pushing through here, because Razor is now healthy and will pick up the Mega. And despite the good work of Chain, he needs to start from square one.
All undone rather quickly there, and Razor does a great job of dealing with the turret immediately. Doesn't want to fall for any shenanigans here from Chain, as Chain taking position down by that lower jump pad. Good rail, but again, the Heavy's right up there, so again, you hit those rails, but you're giving up the items right after. You need to try and find a way to hit those rails after the item.
Exactly, and this is the problem, is that he's not doing enough in and around the pickups. It's a single rail here or there, and as you rightly say, it's generally just before the item pickups. Now, for the first time in this map, more or less, Razor is vulnerable. He will have to back off here. Chain should be able to get onto this Heavy. I'm sure Razor will try to hit a rail, but now he's going to be vulnerable. Chain knows he can push in. He's gone through the high ground. Map's going to come out. Razy's been cornered here. Chain should be pushing in, and he does. He wants to get a relatively clean kill, and that is nice. Right in time for the heavy, right in time for the mega. Might even rocket jump up to try and get it. Razy's in position. He hasn't got any weaponry though.
A little bit unfortunate for Chain, did have to give up the mega, but still he put a frag on the board. He's firmly planting his feet in this one, not gonna let it slip away. Still down by 1, but looking a lot more solid here as he's patrolling this rocket area. Doesn't want to give up anything free, makes the jump. Always terrifying to see that.
Yeah. I am somebody who would miss that and then try to score.
I wouldn't judge you at all as Razy jumps down. That's a good rail from Chain there. Again, the mega giving Razy that overstack. Stack's about even, all things considered. The turret's going to be up shortly. Yeah, Chain's got to know that rockets are in possession. If he didn't already, Razy with the flare right there, zooming past his head. Still up 1 frag, 7 minutes in. This is getting a little tight here.
It is indeed, but Chain's done a good job to stabilize. Obviously, how much control Razy had for the first 3 or 4 minutes. To not give away any more frags than he did is a feat unto itself. So, step 1 is complete for Chain. It's about now how he can maintain control for himself. Try and get the item speed a bit more, which is exactly what he's doing. Next objective will be trying to steal away the heavy. He drops down, but he doesn't actually take the mega, and now he's rocked himself away from the mega. Overcomplicating that situation. And that's what feels bad, because now he needs to retreat. He shouldn't be killing this race.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's one of those things where if he would have hit, 2 great rockets, it might have looked great, leaving the item up, dropping down onto his opponent, but instead he just gives it up for free. Full map control back to Razy. Chain now on the back foot, needs to be careful. That's a good rail in the Thunderdome there as Razy comes barging in. Chain's going to need more.
Blocking that potential cheeky play through the teleporter with that turret. As he does, knocks Razy up for an easier rail. Nice positioning. I think he hoped it would actually stall him in his tracks, but instead it just floated Razy.
He kind of used it as a jump pad, just right over, leapfrogging over it, but he did miss out on the mega. Chain gets full control now. And as we inch closer to the deadline here, Chain looking strong to try and equalize it too.
And Chain is so heavily reliant on his rail at the moment. Every time he misses it, it's extremely painful because he's letting Razy off the hook. And as many, for all the nice rails he hit, he's missed an equal amount of potential easier ones. He's going to have to start hitting some more as the time is already approaching 9 minutes, and he's obviously the one who needs to be chasing Razy. Good back-to-back rails from Razy. He's taken enough damage, will jump through the teleporter, position up on this high ground, but he actually hasn't been enough for my liking. He's lived predominantly on the low ground.
Really good rail. Smells blood. He's going to double back onto the mega and have time to get back to the head. But he is Razy going to stick around here and risk the equalizing frag. He's going to be out of there. 45 seconds left. Pressure mounting for Chain. He does have the stack, but now he needs the frag.
His opponent, he knows he's in the acid room. He's caught him through the jump pad, but Razy's already gone.
Great job playing keep away. 30 seconds left. Chain needs to speed up here and try and find Razy. He's going to get 1 more cycle of items, but after that, it's go time.
Caught him here in the rocket room. Razy's got great damage. Rocket to rail once again. Chain needs to pick up an item. Razy knows he's low, but won't want to commit. He's going to be hiding here through the acid room once again. Will be retreating as he hears Chain on the chase. Chain doubles back, goes towards the jump pad. Razy once again will hear him. He's hiding in the corner. Rocket! And GG.
That was unfortunate. Chain a little bit too slow near the end there, but very, very close. That's the kind of game I want Chain to play, and you saw right out of the gate, Razy put on the aggression, and the fact that Chain stopped it, Razy was like, okay, I understand. I can't just bully you right now. And I think that's what Chain needs to do. Like, on the 3rd map, I expect Razy to be just as aggressive right off the spawn.
It felt like there were times in that encounter where Razy was living in Chain's head rent-free, that Chain was second-guessing himself on where he should be standing or what he should be doing at certain times, and I think the ending showed it perfectly. Like, there was a time and a place to play slow, and he was obviously trying to trap Razy, But Razy countered that by playing slow himself and wouldn't move his position unless he hurt his opponent. So I think Chain definitely second-guessed himself quite a lot throughout that encounter, and that was one of the reasons why he just narrowly missed out on tying that up.
Very, very close to that equalizing frag there, but Razy up 2-0. Is the panel going to be right? Is this going to be a shutout? We're going to move on to the third map shortly here. Razy's going to be on the Galena, Chain's going to be on Anarchy, and we are going to Molten Falls.
Yeah, we saw Chain put up some decent performances on Molten Falls, but likewise, he is going up against Razy, and when you get to this stage of the competition, the margins are always so small, you can't really put it down to a map pick. But we do, as you say, have Galena against the Anarchy. What's your feeling of Galena on Molten, as it's a little bit of a rarer pick on the map?
I like it because there's a lot of cheeky spots where you could put totems and get that overstack going. I also like it against Anarchy specifically because if you put those totems around corners, again, it's so easy with Anarchy to just kind of zoom around the map and just, I gotta go fast like Ricky Bobby, but then you just smack into totems, it gives you that information. You also get the damage, it stops you dead in your tracks, it's brutal. So I think game starts for Chain.
Yeah, and I think he did that well. I want to see more urgency in his play. I don't think he opposed himself on the map. Maybe gave Razy too much respect in the last ground enough when he had control. He still stuck to the low ground and played like the beta. So I just wanted to take the game to Razy a little bit more. And this really is his last chance in this event now. It is, if he loses this, he's out, and that would be such a shame for how well he's done up until now.
This is it, tournament life on the line. This is where you need to play your best. I'd love to see Chain put himself in positions where he could deal some damage after the major items and make sure to clear out those totems as best you can because that overstack is going to be up.
Exactly. Got to be mindful as well of the speed of the Anarchy throughout. As you say, it's always a key facet in these encounters, as well as using that inject just to restack it, so putting more emphasis on the heavy could be a core tactic here.
Is this going to be it? Razy up 2-0 in the series in the lower bracket. Is this going to be the end of our hero Chain, the comeback kid? No better time than now. He really needs to put in the work, and we're going to get right into it. How dare you? What do you mean? It was perfect. Yeah, I think, again, it comes down to the start and just being able to clear out those totems and dealing damage around the items after the pickup, and I think that's going to be the key for Chain.
No, I agree. That for me is about being more aggressive in his position. He's only turning up in and around the item pickups and then disappearing off the map, and he wasn't stringing rails back to back as he has done in previous games, and Razy's too smart, too diligent to allow him to do that, so you have to be more aggressive and get in the face of Razy sometimes, even though it is a scary thought. And if he does that, he's certainly within a shout, and this is why I was saying that I do feel there's a bit of a clash of styles, because Chain's passiveness allows Razy to sit back when he wants to and take those run engagements, and Razy was always the one for me to take the initiative.
If you're Chain, do you still try and play how you were going to play? You know, you have a set game plan at the beginning of the series. Right, kind of knowing the pick bands ahead of time and then looking forward. Now that the maps haven't gone his way, do you think he adjusts already, or do you think he says, okay, this is a new map, regardless of what happened, I just need to start playing my game, or do you think we're going to see that adjustment that he needs to have in terms of how to start? Does he expect somebody to attack off the spawn, as we've seen countless times now? Like, at this point, I just want him to have a weapon out and just wait and make sure, okay, you're going to play aggressive no matter where I am. I just need to do that.
It's a good question, because like Arena FPS and Quake is so intricate anyway, because there's so many elements of strategy, and obviously Quake Champions introduces a whole new level. So going into a match, you have to think about who is my opponent, what is their style, what do they want to do, and then that also changes based on which champions they've picked, which also changes on the map. So there's so many layers you have to think through. And at the end of the day, the simplest answer and the most boring answer is you need to play the way that makes you feel comfortable and not change it based on circumstance or how you sit in a series, because if you're not feeling your game and if you're not comfortable in your game, you're not going to play well.
We talk about that totem.
I mean, it's a race. Oh, which totem?
He threw it on the top of the arch right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a Razy totem. Yeah, it's a Razy totem.
Beautiful for those who haven't seen it. As Razy playing very, very slow, trying to trap the rail right here. Doing a good job of getting those time charts. He's going to have 2 tokens up rather quickly. And again, the overstack is ending. It's going to be brutal for Chain.
It is the first game we've seen in Chain for a while where there has been an even trade of items off the start, so Chain has that foundation to work off. He's also got the high ground advantage here over by Razy. We saw earlier in the day the way in which Vector was countering Chain on this map was just playing that plus back game on the items, but Chain has mistimed that item way too early. Razy capitalizing on it, falling back, suggesting to Chain, hey, the item's up and I don't want to contest, but nope, it was a trap all along.
Really good play there from Razy. Unfortunate for Chain. Getting caught out. He needs to be careful. Razy lying in wait. There's the rocket. He wants to chase with the LG. Chain has nothing to work with. 2-0 up easily for Razy.
Also enjoying that totem consistently placed by the teleporter. You obviously mentioned it before as the Anakin run around gobbling up totems. That does a considerable amount of damage to his light stack, and going through the teleporter is always one of the critical paths that the Anakin would need to take at some point. So keeping a good placement there would ensure you should get free damage.
Free damage in information, and that's huge. Razy stack is gigantic. Great rail around that pole there. The rocket's raining in from Chain, trying to get some damage. Good rail. As the tribal not landing for Razy, can't find any damage, but that's not going to stop him. The rocket jump up. He wants this frag. Aggressive play with the LG into the rail. Little miss. He does have a totem in the back pocket though. And there it is, the overstack, trying to hunt him down with LG again. He needs to be careful. Good rocket, but Razy prevails and grabs the mega 3 HP for Razy on that.
He's also going back to set up for the heavy. I would love to see Chain put some damage out here because he knows Razy's weak. He's going to be there, but he's going to be a second late. That's painful for Chain, as that was a key opportunity for him to try and impose himself. And there's small things like that where I'd love to see just more urgency coming from Chain. And once again, the overstack is up. It's not something Chain will be aware of, so gotta be wary. Oh, the Razy did miss the item pickup. Doesn't come back to haunt it, however.
Making his way back over to the heavy, which will be up shortly. Lots of nail spam. Chain's gonna be down below, and he's gonna get the heavy, but he's gonna take so much damage. That follow-up rail doesn't land, luckily for him. And actually, the return rail is fantastic from Razy. Hits one of his own, and now it's gonna be a fight to the death. Totem comes down. The overstack saves his life. Still very weak. Tribal isn't gonna prevail.
Oh my word.
Wow.
Tense moments for both players. Exchanging rails once again. This is one of the reasons why Chain finds it so hard to catch the Galena out in the open. It's Razy that actually comes out by exchanging rails time and time again. It nullifies the way Chain wants to play. Great back-to-back rails. Can't finish off with a third. He is low. They're both low. Razy switching to Tribal, forcing Chain away as he's scared of more. That splash damage coming out. Razy is now weak. Will miss out on the Mega. Okay, that's how you get that totem.
That's so cheeky. Razy, he's just getting so much mileage out of those totems. You saw it in the middle of the fights too. The pocket totem, the ones that are already down, the overstack healing him. They're saving his life quite literally. Here's the tribal spam coming in. Again, overstack already ready. There's a rocket from above. He's gonna chase with the shotgun through the telly. Chain dropping down too early.
Why are you dropping in that situation? It's unnecessary. And I want to point out exactly what you said. It's remarkable how Razy's had 3 overstacks already in the first 4 minutes, and he's only had one of these more creative positions of his totem. So, I mean, it's hard because there's so many things to be doing at once within the duel like this, but Chain needs to be taking out these totems. Shotgun to the face, Chain will need to back away now. Wants to do one more, just careful of Razy pushing up. And I don't know, to me it feels Chain's a little bit rattled again.
Razy's playing so solid, and the totem placement is everything, right? Hide one, really cheeky, have one at the telly exit, and then keep one in your pocket, and that's exactly how Razy's playing.
The self-damage to sweep up the map, and this is what happens when Razy feels momentum. He does just begin to eat all resources. Anaki's not left with a lot to live off. He is using the overstack fairly often though, and it will be back up again for the next engagement, but as is Razy's own overstack, and he's also been eating up all major items. If Chain goes through, there we go. He knows the totems are there, rocket jumps around, clears out 2. It's methodical, you have to take it a step at a time. And coming in, this is a dangerous push as he doesn't seem to have the lightning gun. If he does, it's not out, and he's trapped himself in a corner. Razy buying his time. Lets Chain get away, but Chain popped the injection, he took the Mega, and he's out of position for this heavy.
Does get back to deal a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. As Razy's still a firm 4-0 lead, 6 minutes in. And I do like that play from Chain earlier, rocket jumping around, doesn't trust the telly, but part of me thinks that Razy saw that, and now he's going to set a trap there, knowing that Chain can clear out like that, he might float him with LG or something, so Chain has to be careful. As again, using all those time vials very well, and again, overstack for Razy.
I don't know how he's got so much to service, like he's also caught Chain here. Chain actually just fortunately drops onto that heavy, slightly to the surprise of Razy, but the overstack was there. Nice double back from Chain. He did need a totem, it was totally worth it. The eject comes out because now he wants to contest for this Mega. He knows it's up, he knows the timing, but Razy's under him, he's pinned him and somehow gets the frag!
What a float. Razy with the best Pennywise impression. We all float down here. 5-0. I mean, what can Chain do? 7 minutes, he's got to start being a little more aggressive. But again, you get in these positions where they're not optimal, but you have to take them. You have to get back into this game. And Razy could just start playing hyper defensive if he wanted to.
I mean, that was the play. He had done everything so well. He got fortunate in the previous engagement to pick up that heavy, but the double back rail was spot on. He didn't account for the overstack from Razy. He had the timing on the Mega, popped the inject, and just got floated like Aladdin with his magic carpet. Couldn't get down.
Very near and dear to my heart, thank you. 5-0, 7:30 in. As Razy will concede heavy. Playing a little bit slower, but again, he doesn't really have to push anything, doesn't have to do anything crazy. Almost rails Chain off the map. The return rail from Chain will land, and Razy's down to 100 HP. He does have a totem in his pocket immediately.
And once again, we're at that point where it's been a fairly slow and steady map from both players, but time is running out for Chain to stay alive in this tournament. If we're looking at this brutally, I think he's had 1 frag in this series so far, so where is he going to conjure 6 from? He really has to be Aladdin with his magic lamp if he's going to get through this one.
I think he's all out of wishes, though, it seems. As he drops down, this is a good start here, but he needs to be so careful, and he knows that he has no choice. He's going to tank all of that totem damage and be so weak. Shotgun out for Razy. He knows if he shows his face again, he's going to blast him. This is just chunking out the time. Razy looks like he's on his way to a 3-0 victory, and Maestro is going to haunt Chain's nightmares. What a rail.
Oh my god. These are so nice, and Chain, he did pick up the heavy, but he's used the inject. Great rocket. He's going to have to convert this one. He's run through a totem to make it happen. But look how low he is, and there's nothing up for 10 seconds. Razy knows that great rail. Can he convert? He's going to have to. Razy doubling back, going for that rail himself, and Chain's nearly out of time. He's got time for 1 more item. He can't even really rush this heavy. He just hasn't got the time.
Good play from Chain. He has all the information he needs to catch him. There's the jump down. He just needs the damage. Now it's going to be just telly play, isn't it? Yep, there it is. Catches him out. And Razy somehow point-blank shotgun rail gets Chain. And that is a heartbreaker for sure.
It is a heartbreaker.
The comeback kid, I don't know, man. This 30 seconds, dude, there's still time, but 5 frags. Oh, that's going to be a good start.
Ignorance is bliss, but I don't think anyone can discount reality that hard to suggest Chain can do this now with 20 seconds to go. Unfortunately, he will be leaving us from this tournament, coming up against Razy, somebody who hasn't had good fortune against in the past. And for me, the story of this is he gave Razy a little bit too much respect at times, and Razy outplayed Chain at his own game. Like, the amount Razy was hitting in terms of rail against Chain as a glory rocket jump was just insane. And Chain didn't have an answer for that. So, good games coming out from both players. Razy will be moving on to meet Dahang, who had a very close encounter against CNZ. And we will have 3 Maestro guys in the top 4, which is a great achievement for the organization. But we will jump into a break just for now. 40 and I would like to thank you, and when we come back, we will have an interview with Razy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's day 3, finals day of the Quake World Championship. We're here with the winner of our last matchup, Razy, taking on Chain, defeating him 3-0. And in fact, the Maestro team effectively in 0-6 Chain out of the tournament. So congratulations, Razy. It's great to have you with us.
Hello, thank you very much.
So I have to ask just the most obvious question, which is why do people continue to pick or allow you to pick Clutch, and maybe specifically on Awoken?
It comes down to the coin toss. If the coin toss goes in my favor, then I'm most likely gonna be able to pick Clutch. And if it doesn't, then they can get rid of it if they want to.
I mean, is it weird to you at all that there is such an association between you, your play, this character, and then also just how much difficulty it seems to give some of the other players?
Clutch is a lot of work, and I think if you put some time into it and learn how to play him properly on this level, then he can grant you advantages no other champions would. But as I said, it is really hard work to make it viable. But I did put a lot of time into it, and it pays out.
Maybe it's just because you make it look so easy. I don't know. Maybe that might be it. I want to talk a little bit about your day 1 and your day 2, because I've looked through all the brackets. We watched all the games, and I would go up and argue that you had one of the most brutal runs through the entire day 1 and day 2. You won against Toxic. You lost to your teammate, Wenger, but then eliminated Avic, Base, and Cooler on your way to secure yourself for the finals. You're here in the lower bracket, but having gone through, such an incredible roster of players, how are you feeling about your performance so far here during the Quake World Championship?
I'm just happy I'm not repeating what happened last stage finals, because that was a disaster for me. I'm trying to play it solid. I'm not trying to risk too much, and trying to play it calculated in a way that, normally I would probably go for higher frag games. Trying to play it safe to make sure that he's insane in a good way. Happy for him though. But yeah, I just hope that I can keep carrying this play style, and it's gonna grant me, good results.
And so we have 4 players left in the tournament, 2 from Team Maestro, 2 from Team Liquid. Each of you is playing one of the members of Team Liquid. Let's talk about your next matchup. That would be versus Dehang. Your thoughts on that one?
I've met Dehang a few times already at LAN tournaments, and he has knocked me out of tournaments on more than one occasion, so I must play my best if I want to be able to beat him. It's gonna be tough for sure. He's a really good player in ways of how calculated he is and how well he understands mechanics and certain aspects of the game. So I must respect that.
Of course. And in your opinion, how do you feel like you are playing right now, as opposed to to put it in context to like the entire season since the kickoff at last year's Quakecon?
Sadly, I've been all over the place. I haven't really been as consistent as I would like to be, but I feel like this particular Quakecon I've been solid, and the upcoming weeks to this event were all over the place. Sometimes I was playing really well, other times I was surprising myself of how badly I'm playing. Right now I'm okay. I'm just happy that it's good enough so far.
Well, it's definitely been good enough and entertaining. The fans at home have been enjoying all of your matchups as well. You certainly gave us a great action to watch during day 1 and 2. So we want to say good luck to you in your upcoming match, and we're excited to see how you'll do here for the remainder of the Quake World Championship. Razy, thank you so much. Everyone in chat, give some hearts out to Razy. He'll be going up against Dehang next. Thank you for joining us, Razy.
Thank you.
And now we're going to bring the panel back in to talk a little bit about that matchup. But before we do, gentlemen, I want to remind you there's a couple things you need to know. Number one, which is if you play a single game of Quake Championship, before the end of the day, you're going to unlock all of the champions, and then you could hop in. You could be playing with 40 Lines actually plays pretty much like I would say 24/7, but he's got to sleep, so it's more like 22/7. You could just jump in, play with him anytime, hit him up on Twitter, add you to his friends list, all that good stuff. So get yourself Quake Champions. Also, AlienwareArena.com/QuakeCon, there is an exclusive QuakeCon bundle that you can get access to. It's got the OG Quake 1 rocket launcher, a Doom Slayer collectible vanity, as well as 500 platinum as well. So make sure that you go and pick that up. If you forget the URL, just do !Alienware in the chat. Gentlemen, Razy versus Chain. Razy gave us a very humbling interview, but you know what I love about Razy is like an honest interview. Haven't been super consistent this past year, but very happy with how I'm doing now. Everyone that watched that matchup, I don't know how he couldn't be happy. Lethal, I want to go to you with your thoughts on Razy versus Chain.
First map was an absolute bloodbath. I came back 2 or 3 minutes later, it's already 10-0. And with the Athena as well, he's got the verticality. He needed to get some more chip damage with those rails, but he seemed to take too many close range engagements, even when the shield was up. And it was quite surprising. I maybe could have said, maybe choose someone like Sorlag, who's got the mobility and the stack. But guess what? Razy banned the Sorlag. So by then, I think he knew that it was going to be a rough road heading to map number 1. But map number 2, anyway, you could see that it was a much closer affair. Chain did everything he could. He kept that top mid control. But by the end, Razy was doing such a great job just keeping away from him at every opportunity he could. And even on the third map as well, he had the totems in very good positions. Always had one in his back pocket for the HP, one to give him info, and another one depending on the circumstances of how the map was flowing. But there were some odd occasions as well where Chain was just a little bit over aggressive. So some frustration here and there. I think he had about a total of 4 frags over the course of the 3 maps, but end of the day, commiseration to Chain. He played really, really well throughout the entire weekend and for all the stages of the Pro League, and props to him for getting at least top 3 in the Americas region.
Now, certainly open to any other thoughts, CSX of 40 Lines, but one of the things that this latest match result has given us is that we have 2 Maestro players, 2 Team Liquid players, and they aren't in a situation where they're playing each other. They're in a situation where, or playing their teammates. They're in a situation where they are playing each other, which could set up some interesting matchups in the future. But thoughts on that as we head almost into the winner bracket final?
I mean, it's pretty much unprecedented, I think, to have such a monopoly in terms of the organization, so it's really cool to see. And it's at a point where it's too close to call. I guess particularly this Rafa Wenger match, I honestly don't know which way it can go, because this is the best Wenger we've seen in a while, and I do think that the way he plays might be a remedy somewhat to the pressure that Rafa wants to put on. So I'm really intrigued to see how this one plays out. I think the Hang will struggle against Razy, but either way, it's a great setup of matches.
I'm looking forward to the Liquid and Maestro logos being spammed in the chat. You know, pick your jerseys, throw them on, and root for your team and your players.
I mean, both of these teams have pretty great social media presence. I really hope that the memes are strong between these two heading into these next couple of matches. Rafa versus Wenger is next, and then Razy will get a little bit of a break, but he'll be going up against Hang. It sets up for some very interesting situations because the Razy to Hang game, of course, someone will be eliminated, but we could see a potential team kill down the line here, as happens when you've only got 2 teams and 4 players remaining. But let's talk a little bit about it. You know, the XSG said, "Hey, I'm not quite sure which way this one will go." So I'll put Lethal on the spot and ask him, like, you know, Rafa definitely played well compared today that we saw, seems to be in the right mindset, but Wenger is beast mode right now.
He really is. It's kind of a case of players like Rafa, Kula, Cypher, they can adapt to any playstyle after a certain period of time. And Wenger, he has the fundamentals, the mechanics, everything he needs at his disposal. It's just a matter of a jigsaw piece. With that one piece is going to be deciding on how he can tackle down Rafa and beat him at his own game. But that's the problem, you see. With Wenger, he does force out his own style. He needs to not give Rafa. If he's got good aim on the day, then it's a completely different story.
And here are the picks and bans. Corrupted Keep, Awoken, Blood Covenant, Ruins, and Molten Falls. Thoughts on what we're seeing here?
I think that I like the pick from Wenger on Awoken with the Sorlag. I think he can definitely take the pressure to Rafa on Athena. Rafa obviously plays an amazing Athena, but it is, as we just saw with the clutch, when you have that stack advantage against a light champion, you can force the issue. Likewise, I do feel that Wenger will struggle on Blood Covenant just because of how well Slash plays on that map in the hands of Rafa and the pressure he can put on with speed. But the rest of the maps, there's not really anything to tie them. It's really nice picks coming through.
Anyone else?
I really like the strong pick on Corrupted for Rafa. Looking forward to that high-flying speed and maybe some cheeky peeker plays. The Doom guy should be pretty good to kind of counter that. And again, the double jump is so good to kind of avoid splash damage and rocket fights up close. I'm just really looking forward to this series, man. We're getting close to it. Someone's going to take home the belt. And it's going to be, well, it has to be Rafa, but someone's going to win this whole thing. And Rafa, again, wanting to win this so he can take home the whole belt. So it's coming down to the wire.
And the great thing about all of this, it's not Liquid versus Maestro, it's the old guard versus the new generation of Quake players, adaptation versus the mechanics of some of these newer players. So it's going to be interesting to see how things will tie up.
I love that perspective on it. I mean, certainly a storyline that I always love, looking at, right? But it's exciting, right? Because for so long, people were like, oh, it's just the old players always dominate, and it's just not the case, and it hasn't been the case for a while. But it looks like we are ready to jump into this one, and we're going to give Flea a chance to take a break. Catch up. I would love to join you in commentating this match if you're down for it.
It's going to be an honor, mate. I don't want to get into this too much because we're about to jump in, but I've looked up to you for quite a while, so this is something I never thought would actually happen. But as we go into this first map, the Rafa and Wenger, a match that people have been waiting a long time for. Rafa, can he be a two-time champ, or is Wenger going to finally get that big result? He's already crazy far into this bracket, and you know he's out for number one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, right at this point, obviously everyone wants to win. You know, that's the obvious thing. However, really interesting between these two players because they still kind of got that that one last chance card, right? Because they're in the upper finals. But taking that long break, sitting in the grand finals, is certainly a good feeling. Lets you review the rest of the game, and you aren't, up against elimination yet. So we could have first frag right here, and it does come out from Rafa. Both teams barreling into that room, but it's Rafa who comes out with the LG kill to take frag number one.
And the question's going to be, what does he get off the back of this? The answer for that right now is a considerable amount of push. Heavy's going to be the first item to spawn here, but with Rafa and the crouch side of Strog, he has enough time to cycle over both of these items, and he can soak up both of them. Now Wenger looks like he's significantly behind, right? But he's famous for being able to play in this position. He's able to get these miracle defensive rockets. That's going to be one, taking out a lot of the armor. Wenger's going to try and stay as slippery as possible,
Yeah, I'm really a fan of not only this pick, but also the champions and the players who are playing them. Got a little bit of speed, a ton of precision, and, this is one of those maps where things could go back and forth. Fight over Heavy through the top. Oh my god, the super shotgun with the equalizer. 4 hit points left on there. And is Rafa going to come in hard looking for that when he does? The nail gun there at, wow.
This
going to be tied 2-2.
is exactly why Wenger's defensive plays are, at this point, surely it's got to be the best in the world. The way he can approach this, Rafa's going to take him out, but you look at those encounters, you look at the stack alone and think, how does he survive this, let alone score the frag himself?
Yeah, the Peeker comes out there. They did trade on that one. Rafa, he got the conversion, but then again, Wenger coming right off of it, tying it back up 3-3. If the whole game's like this, Ketchup, by the way, I just want to let people know I'm totally fine. This is the type of back and forth action that I'd love to see in a winner bracket matchup like this one. Things equalizing a little bit. Another LG battle just outside the teleporter, and Wenger still very aggressive with that vertical advantage there. He's down to 31 points of health, but he picks up the frag and the lead.
He has run out of lightning gun ammo though, and that's going to be a bit of a problem. Hindered his damage and it forced him to weapon swap right as the Pika was coming out. Now, I mean, it's the nature of Corrupted Keep. This is a small map, no rail, combat heavy as anything, especially with these two picks. But every time a frag has been obtained, it's not been able to lead to a complete cycle of the map. You're able to get one of these items, another player spawns, and then, you know, Rafa's able to position himself on Mega, right? So they go back to a pretty similar state. Rafa sitting on a little bit more stack. A good rocket to open, and a third, some self-damage. That's a bit tragic for Wenger, but the opening damage was definitely good.
Yeah, and I love what you say there, too, because it shows who could have the advantage if they walk away from a frag, like with a decent-sized stack. It hasn't happened yet, and Rafa's going to bring it right back, choosing that battle, jumping down, a little scary against that LG, but he ties it back up 4-4. Now, the question is did he have the stack? Well, he is going to get that heavy out of the teleporter. Again, they exchange some more damage using the heavy machine gun to try to finish him off, and it's not going to happen, but oh my gosh, the Mega there to save him.
This is where things change quite significantly across the map. Now there is a giant delay for this map standards in between the two items. So if you're able to frag someone right as one of them appears, it's not a matter of, okay, well, they're going to spawn and then soak up the other one. They're not going to have time to do that now. And the aggressing player will have time to be able to set themselves up. Now Wenger does get a frag. There is going to be no heavy. He's going to be able to position himself towards this Mega. And like I said, there's enough of a delay that Rafa's not able to spawn and position himself there first. He has a lead. It's a slight lead. Swapping to the LG, knowing that Rafa doesn't have one. A lot of faith going in for the Pika. Challenging the weapon swap. Both players pretty weak and no armor. Rafa likely to soak up that lightness in an Nailgun room, and he will take it. And the next call to action is going to be the heavy. Wenger respecting it.
Yeah, and he's just going to back off a little bit. It's going to allow Rafa to take it. I think that was a smart move there. He got quite a bit of LG damage from up above. Nice rocket. You've been talking about those perfectly placed rockets from Wenger throughout the entire weekend. Another one there, but no armor. Not a battle he wants to take. He's going to give away his position there. A direct rocket does nice damage versus Rafa, but once again, back off. Light picked up by Rafa. Going to head on over to the heavy. There will be a battle here. Wenger drops down one rocket and says, okay, I'm out of here.
Now that right there is the exact reason as to why timing lights can be an underratedly important tool as well. Because Rafa had timing on the light, Wenger didn't. Wenger thinks the light's going to spawn, overstays his welcome, and then right on time, Rafa appears, knowing Wenger wouldn't have any armor. So he pushes his way in, takes the armor, and now he scored another frag and an extra light to boot. Rafa putting those lights into the circuit that he's running across all of these items. Wenger looking like he's going to concede this heavy, in fact. Crazy to think a week that we've already gone half into this map. It's felt like a quick one.
It has 5-5. People in chat were saying, I'm exhausted already, and that's how you want to watch Quake, be exhausted by the end of it. Now, it does look like Rafa did finally manage to get Mega, get the heavy. However, is he going to be able to convert that to a frag, right? We've had nothing but back and forth frags up until this point. He's looking for that first time. He might be able to just take that lead and then possibly separate himself a little bit, but Wenger playing very nicely. Great dance to steal away that heavy, and Rafa just back and forth, didn't know where he was going to go. Wenger takes that heavy and the Mega, and here we are battling out the Mega room.
It's a very tricky fight for Rafa to take. Wenger outstacking him quite considerably. He's trying to go for that range damage. Very minimal damage on that rocket splash, only getting 10 of it. The stack is actually completely even here. But Rafa right next to the light armor. He feels like he's equipped enough to push in for this heavy. If Wenger goes down right now, it's going to be a bad time to do so. He's looking to disengage and run away. Rafa needs to put himself in position for the Mega. Should be able to soak this up.
And he gets both, and this, again, this is like only the second time that we've seen Rafa with full control here. Wenger with some nice moves to just run away from from Rafa. Stay out of his crosshairs. He's going to go up the jump pad. We're going to have LG versus LG, and Rafa converts with that control, an additional frag, giving him the lead 6-5. He is going to be able to pick up heavy and then go ahead and convert right over to the Mega. So will Wenger try to stop him? Uses Speaker to come out and will be able to secure the Mega.
So he rocked the Pika, and Wenger punished that with some pretty insane damage. Rafa having to pop the Kamikaze pretty much as soon as possible to try and make sure he can get out of that one with his life, and he will. Now remember, for those that might be unaware, or maybe you don't stay as on top of Quake, Doomslayer used to be silent completely, but now, thanks to Doom Eternal, I don't know if that's the actual reason, but he makes damage noises now, which means that when he's close to death, there's more of a giveaway. It was a bit of a knock-on nerve. So in these situations when Doom's about to go down, you get that extra information you didn't used to have.
Oh, nice hit on there, full 75 damage, and now Wenger is hurting. Rafa looks like he's on the hunt. He's going to slow it down just a little bit, trying to get behind him. Does see him, hits one shot with the super shotgun. Going to get a second one, 44 points of damage. He is screaming, just as you mentioned, catch up. And there it is, the LG up the pad to grab it, 7-5. And this is the first time that we have seen
Będę duży. Dognajmy sobie kogoś, kto będzie ze mną chodził i czytał mnie.
Comes be all you need, a lovely amount of the plasma coming forward. Rafa without armor, going up that jump pad. Understandably, no way he's going to push up there. A death sentence with no armor ready to go. Only a minute and a half left of this map. Rafa, 2 frags on the lead on front to keep you blink, and that can easily change. The snowball effect can be real. He's taking so much damage from that nail. The rockets come in. Rafa, weak, but he's taking away a ton of the armor as well. Who's going to get this Mega? He gets caught on the wall, Rafa! A bit of a potential movement mistake, but they trade! What's the spawn?
Unbelievable. I mean, it's back and forth. Both the Heavy and the Mega were pretty much negated, but they committed to the battle. And we're going to have another one off the spawn. Wenger with the LG kill to make it 8-7. Damn near tied again with less than 1 minute left to go. And all eyes are on Wenger.
No! Rafa picks it up. Wenger pushes forward. He had so much momentum, getting absolutely the more favorable spawn near Mega, soaking it up, taking an LG and pushing on. But now Rafa well equipped to finish the job. 2 frags in 30 seconds. It's absolutely possible, but it's going to be hard when Strog is faster than Doom. It's as simple as that, and he's prioritizing this side of the room. It's very hard for Doom to chase you now.
9-7. There's a light. Rafa just needs to stay out of the crosshairs of his opponent. Oh, there it is. That'll seal the deal. 10-7. But my goodness, what a close matchup. You know, we were at the 5-minute mark when we had nothing but frag trades back and forth. Neither player really able to grab control in those opening moments, and it wasn't until later on, right around that 6-7 mark, where Rafa finally was able to grab some control, pull away with a bit of a lead. He will take that first game 10-7 in this best of 5.
Wenger did so much more damage than Rafa in those endgame stats as well. I think for me that's more of a testament as to how much consistent stack Rafa was able to stay in control of. It's very Rafa-like to play around that, but they were evenly matched as far as combat is concerned, I think. It really did an exchange. It was only until the last couple of minutes of the map that he was able to pull away to a degree. And just checking out this highlight reel, the amount of frags that they just traded. Yeah. I take one, you take one, and we just rinse and repeat that.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty, but again, like that's exciting quick. And you know, I would make the observation that this is exactly the shape that we want to see both of these players in, right? Confident in their own skills, respectful of the opponent, but still it's do or die, right? And I you know, we talked about, well, will Rafa bring his best game? Will Wenger bring his best? And both players bring in their best game for sure. We are going to be moving on to Awoken next, and it's going to be Athena for Rafa and Sorlag for Wenger, and this should be an equally interesting matchup.
The gap is starting to shorten a little bit when it comes to there. We'd be talking about how Wenger was just shy of unbeatable on this map in the online world, and he was proving in the LAN environment that he's able to be just as dominant. But he has got a favorable matchup here if we're talking about the ability to do damage, have a good restack. The movement is a big part of this. Wenger is going to be able to fly around the map, but on that note, Athena from Rafa, he's shown us many times that he is one of the best Athena players in the business, and it just helps him reposition. If we're talking about movement versus movement, that grappling hook is going to be so good to stop Sorlag from just trapping you, and that's it. You know, Athena often has a backup plan, and that backup plan is, see you later, I'm out. See you later, mate.
Yeah, I have to say I've been really impressed and enjoyed all the matchups that I've been able to see lately that have featured Athena. Originally, I was like, I'm not sure how much I'm going to like this, but you know, the players bring such a unique style and way to play the champ and kind of how they, so I'm excited to see this one. Awoken is the next map, and we're going to be hopping into it in just a moment. Thank you to everyone who has joined us here throughout the weekend. It's hard to believe that there are only 4 players remaining catch up. 2 of them happen to be Maestro, 2 of them happen to be Team Liquid, but 1 of them is our champion.
And we don't have a lot of time left until that champion's going to be crowned. It could very easily be one of these 2 in the grand finals, if we're talking about chances. And that wasn't me stating the obvious, I promise. I mean, if we're talking about player versus player, I wouldn't be surprised if either of these are able to take it. Rafa absolutely has gone into this weekend as one of the favorites. And Wenger, I think it's more of a case of he wasn't one of the clear-cut favorites, but there's a lot of people that want it to be that way. You're always wanting Wenger to go from result to result to result. He is getting closer and closer, but it feels like it's long overdue that he gets a giant win eventually, and the World Championship would be one hell of a way to secure that.
It really would be, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of folks have said, hey, this is a player who's going to reach that status, and if that happened to be at the Quake World Championship, amazing. And we are officially live.
Looks like we're checking out Rafa first, so be prepared for that short and snappy movement. Athena, what she does better than pretty much any other champion is the creativity you can show with the movement on a lot of maps. And for reasons like that, most other champions would be stuck in an unsurvivable situation off that jump pad. Athena can just simply reposition.
Yeah, we've seen it here on Awoken, seen it on TM6 as much as well. Just some really, really intelligent movement. There it is.
Wins the fight!
Yep, 1-0, 38 seconds on the clock, and again, just using that hook to get the right positioning. He has control of the Mega, going to do it again to get up to the window, and, you know, Wenger kind of finding himself like, you know, it's like you trip, and you're trying to find your footing again, but you just can't quite find your footing, and you just can't, he hasn't found that, you know, opening minute footing yet.
Rafa's maintaining some very strong positions here near Mega. As it is about to spawn, 100% chance he's going to be able to outlast Wenger in this position. Take it, the damage over time going to be swiftly stopped. Looking for another rail shot. Now on the subject of rails, the difference in this matchup, the light versus heavy on a map this small, where the heavy can respawn with a giant stack. Rafa's going to have to hit as many shots as possible to compete. The good thing is, it's been a minute and a half, 3 frags in the lead. He has been hitting these shots, and doing it during Athena's movement is no easy task.
None at all, you know, Rafa has been hitting all of these rails as well, which makes it very difficult for Wenger, especially off the spawn. If you start and boom, you're a rail already down 1 rail in terms of like trying to put yourself back together. It becomes very, very
the cool out. Rafa knowing that the sound of the grappling hook is a dead giveaway that he's chasing it, and he just goes back down the other way. The perfect bait, and Wenger no choice but to take it. I kind of feel like he was so weak, he was damned if he does, and damned if he doesn't right there.
2 minutes in, Ketchup now. It's 4-0. Rafa looking very, very comfortable on this map so far with Athena. Wenger, you know, I'm still waiting for those, you know, initial rails, trying to find an open opportunity, but it just hasn't been presented yet. You know, I think if anything, that just goes to say and show how much Rafa is actually locking things down here on Awoken.
one of the things that Rafa's always been so good at is looking at the champion matchup that is before him. And I don't want to use the term counter-picking, but playing in a matchup that he feels he has the best chance with if we're looking at champions. It's not really about comfort pick. I think he's comfortable on every single champion in the game. It's more about, and that's as much damage as you could do with that head-on collision. It's more about looking at this kind of thing and going, all right, Sorad, okay, what kind of picks am I have here? Now, I can't remember the order off the top of my head, but it's something that he's well known for. Always within a chance, you know? I guess that's the term.
And this is kind of the moment that I was looking for, right? Wenger getting that first frag, and then how is he going to bring it back together? And a trade here, as we did have a rail shot from Wenger. He was able to get off the spawn. They exchanged some nice rockets, got the frag, and then picks up his second frag off of the trade. Things equalize just a little bit, but it's Rafa who's going to pick up that heavy. Wenger doing a good job kind of like hacking away at that stack, and no one really with control yet after that exchange.
Although Wenger has a rail, it's still going to be a bit of a risk. Unless down here, no, it's more of a likely shot. One missed rail is going to allow Rafa to completely push it. That's a good shot. It's going to somewhat stun this momentum. Rafa has to disengage and pick up the light that's near Banana, so that is going to waste a little bit of time and change his movement. And as we now go into heavy, this is an item that Wenger really can't challenge. Instead, I think he's trying to get as much armor as he can and set this up. That rocket was really good. The backwards movement from Wenger is pretty good to save his skin. The question is he delaying the inevitable? Or is Rafa going to take a little bit more damage?
Yeah, that's unfortunately a question only time is going to help us answer here. Oh, another great rail out of the telly, and although that rocket did hit, and a beautiful rail with that 4 points of health. Another follow-up rocket. I mean, how much damage is he going to do at 4 health? The answer was quite a... It's not enough to get the kill, but at least to keep your opponent at bay. 2-4 right now. He's going to try to contest the heavy, and it is still, or excuse me, the mega, and he was able to grab that away.
Wenger with the discipline not to take the light health that was near the outside of that LG spawn point, by the way, because there was always a chance that Rafa comes around the corner, and then you're stuck in no man's land. He makes sure to stick at the health bubbles that are completely guaranteed to not risk his life here. And he's done a wonderful job of stabilizing how weak he was and how much stack he's been able to bring back up. Very impressive indeed. In the nature of Awoken, you can easily pick up these 2 frags. It takes 1 good frag with a good stack and then maybe a favorable spawn, and that's it. Click your fingers and he's made a comeback. Rafa knows this. He's going to play the careful game, making noise that Wenger will be listening out for, but the question is, where's he going to go?
Less than 5 minutes left. Wenger has an idea where he might be. Sends out a rocket at a tribal. Is going to reposition now. Grab himself a light as well. So he's at least got a stack, which is what he needs to face off versus Rafa. Now a little bit of science. He using those cues to see where he's at. Nice spin coming out to defensively keep Rafa in that corner. The rockets continue to fire, and now the LG battle in the main room. Some nice damage done against Rafa from Wenger, and now he's going to be on the chase. Rail! Oh my God! 2 defensive rails come out from Rafa, making it 5-2.
Insanity from Rafa, the clutch. So look at the situation and think, all I got to do is hit 2 more rails and I'm back in it, ignoring his stack in effect, not letting it phase him. Wenger has been able to collect a heavy. The danger is that now, every time Rafa gets a frag that Wenger cannot answer back to, this job is just going to get harder and harder. Beats him to the McGann, the 2-piece combo. Thank you very much. American looking better and better as this map progresses.
And obviously wanting to continue to spread that frag difference out as much as they can and hold on to control. 6 minutes and 39 seconds on the clock. There is still plenty of time. As you mentioned, a fast-paced match, 1 single frag, a little bit of control can change everything. But just watching Rafa swing around and take the positions that he wants to take and be almost forcing Wenger into the areas that he wants to fight him in, it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Outstacks Wenger significantly. All it takes is 1 opening rail here, of which it looks like Rafa's fishing for it. I think he actually knocked Wenger down. Did Wenger even have a chance to pick up a rail there? I'm not so convinced. Oh, right as he picked up the rail, the wonderful shot from Rafa pushes him off the ledge. The combos again. Super shotgun is going to max the damage, especially now this gun is beefy in the current version of the game.
Yep, no armor, but grabs that heavy. And the Mega as well, sitting on a great little stack, knows exactly where Wenger is, and likes to keep him back here. Oh man.
No jump pad needed. That's the Athena effect. He doesn't have to use those risky ways of elevating.
Yeah, agreed. And it's nice to see that chunky damage from the Super Shock. A great rail coming out yet again, got the reposition, come from above. And I mean, you know, based off of what we've seen in Game 1 and now what we're seeing in Game 2 catch-up, Rafa is looking very, very strong.
Oh my lord, 100 damage to open things up. Remember, there's a minute 50 on the clock, and Rafa's 6 frags in the lead. That kind of 100 damage rocket is disaster. You have to take time to get your stack back up, and that's time you didn't have anymore. Now Rafa hitting the defensive angles. That's a good start. Oh, never mind, he's out.
But Wenger does have some armor at this point. He's not going to be able to get that Mega. He has been hitting some reasonably good shots, getting a little bit aggressive here against Rafa. The spit goes down, but it's not going to matter. Again, just using that grapple to get into the position he wants to get in. 9-2, a hefty lead here for Rafa.
More of these defensive rockets, and that is as much damage as he can possibly squeeze out. A point blank. Wenger to take the heavy here, but 6 frags in 1 minute. Let's call it GG on this one. Even on a map like this, Rafa is not going to make himself easy to pin down. He's always going to be able to escape. He's been able to get 1 frag. I mean, for the sake of it being a world championship, I'm going to say never just in case, but I'm pretty sure Rafa's going to move on for the 2-0.
Yeah, and I mean, think about that, a best of 5 here in the winter bracket final, you know, keeping yourself in a little bit of safety. And, I mean, this is like the best position that Rafa could possibly ask for, right? To be 2 games up in this best 5, only needing the 1. And with just 30 seconds left to go, that is certainly going to seal the deal.
We're going to be moving into a map that Rafa is incredibly competent on. A classic Blood Covenant will be our next destination. So the chance of a 3-0 at this stage is likely for sure. I'm not going to lose faith in Wenger just yet. He has played out of his skin this weekend, but this is the championship level Rafa that we know and love, and he's 2 maps up in this winners finals.
Yeah, that's you know, almost shocking, especially just considering how the first matchup went. I mean, would you expect that you'd be up 2-0 here to start?
I'm going to be completely honest that I wouldn't have been surprised no matter the result, because these 2 players are so insanely close in skill recently. If Wenger had this win on Rafa, it's okay, cool. Wenger has been playing really well this weekend, and this could be his moment. If Rafa, it's like, okay, yeah, well, of course, Rafa's said to be the best Quake player of all time, right? So this is just the level that we're at. When the best takes on the best, anything is possible. I will admit, I have expected it to be a 3-2. So if it is a 3-0, I feel like a 3-0 was the least likely result of these 2, but Rafa, I mean, he always brings his A+ game in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone would be equally shocked, especially just based off of how well Wenger has played throughout the entire tournament. But I throw back to actually a comment that DeHang made, right, where he's like, everyone is kind of, right, there's no powering up during this tournament. You're going to try to bring the best games that you can. It all comes down to, like, what is that 5% that you bring, and what does that allow you to do in a matchup? In this particular case, you know, I guess Rafa's really going deep down for that 5% right now. But Wenger has looked so incredible all weekend. I would be shocked if it was a 3-0.